I think I missed a call from you.
Sorry, who's this?
This is Michelle Mayer.
Oh, okay. Hi, yeah. My name is Anthony Barossi. I called you a couple minutes ago in response to, I guess you sent these letters to various agencies, including our office?
Yes.
Okay. We have no jurisdiction on this. Our office primarily deals with the prosecution of criminal cases when someone's been arrested. Any kind of proceedings or hearings in relation to any civil issues, we lack jurisdiction over. Do you have an attorney?
I don't. I do understand what you're saying. My allegations of fraud, it was asked to me by the judge and by Ho's attorney, Mr. G, why I didn't contact the district attorney's office. It is my contention that there's a really big problem at play, because for Mr. Cook to insist on utilizing my address when he never lived here, if he was in the same financial dynamics that I was, it would raise less questions, but he is the controller and treasurer, 401k manager, and third in command for a $150 million wine distribution company that covers 9 states. There's definitely fraud at play, and for Mr. Ho to go to such great lengths to support the illusion that Mr. Cook and I ever co-resided.
Ultimately, it's up to the court to determine whether the residency status in relation to any of that. That's I'm assuming that there's a holdover going on here.
All I want, in 8 appearances, I have not been permitted to discuss my request for resolution even one time.
Right. We wouldn't be involved in.
You would be involved in fraud allegations, correct?
No, we wouldn't. You have to prove that to the court.
Okay, but doesn't the district attorney? Who is it that?
The police department does investigations. The district attorney's office prosecutes people. Okay. Once the police have made an arrest.
Okay, so if somebody is afraid that their interest and safety are being compromised by fraudulent action, how would one go about protecting them?
They go to the police department.
And then?
And the police make a determination based on whether or not there's sufficient evidence there to warrant any action on their part. Evidence is what dictates what actions law enforcement will take.
So, if I can provide, I looked up the dynamics in which to prove fraud, and they are thorough.
That discussion you'd have with the police department, not the district attorney's office.
So, as an agency that protects the citizens of Brooklyn,
this agency prosecutes criminal cases. In terms of when you use the term protects the citizens, the function of the prosecutor's office is exactly that, to prosecute people who have been arrested. The police department is the agency that deals immediately with responses in relation to people's safety and public safety. So if there's a concern, if you have a public safety concern where you believe that you are unsafe, you would need to address that specifically to the police department.
Wouldn't it raise eyebrows to you if
it's not a matter of my personal opinion.
Okay. So the only way that fraud is able to be investigated is if a police officer does it? You're not concerned?
If the police have concluded that there's sufficient evidence to warrant any action based on the evidence you present, they'll provide that to you. But in terms of questions in relation to your situation, they address to either one of two entities, the police department or your legal representatives.
Who are my legal representatives?
Do you have a lawyer?
No.
All right, then maybe you could consider speaking to one.
I have considered speaking to one. The unfortunate thing is, when you're financially challenged.
So legal aid is for the indigent. Legal aid is there and can assist in providing those without the means to obtain legal representation with legal representation. I can give you their number.
I have had excessive discussions with Brooklyn Legal Services, who absolutely flat out in writing refused to address the issues at play. If legal aid would have a different approach, that's fine. as a pro se
Ms. Mayor?
litigant,
Ms. Mayor?
Yes.
I can't keep going further with this conversation.
So are
okay?
you telling me that I'm not allowed to protect myself from fraud without a lawyer?
You can bring it to the attention of the police. I think that's about the 4th time I've said that.
Okay.
Okay?
If the court is completely over...
Ms. Mayor?
Yes.
Don't ask me a question about the court. I don't work for the court. The court makes its own determination with regards to information and evidence presented to it. It would be irresponsible and not really an intelligent thing for me to respond to a question about a matter that this office nor I personally am involved in. So when you start to proceed the question, so you're saying, no, this is what I'm saying.
I'm sorry?
The words that I speak are the words that I say. Your interpretation of the words that I speak are ultimately yours. But I cannot speak for the court. And this office does not speak for the court either. If there's a question with regards to the interpretation of something ordered by the court or a decision made by the court, ultimately, either the court can provide you with the clarity that you need, or an attorney can provide you or assist you in understanding the decisions made by the court. But we don't speak for the court, and neither do I.
I certainly understand that, and I apologize if it seemed as though I was expecting you to take that position. My understanding of resolution in 8 is that I'm allowed to discuss resolution. If somebody attends 8 appearances in resolution part and is not
Mayor,
permitted...
We're not having a conversation with regards to your proceedings in a civil court. We don't have jurisdiction.
I understand that. If you let me finish the question,
No. When you say to me, if I let you finish, once I already know that we're having a conversation with regards to a civil proceeding, there's nothing that I can say to you with regards to that because we don't have any jurisdiction on those matters.
Well, if you'd allow me to complete my sentence, you would understand that what I'm asking you is, if one feels that due process is being bypassed, how does one go about that?
Attorney.
And so pro se litigant is not allowed to have access to due process?
That question you pose to an attorney or to the court itself. This is not the court.
Understood, but...
No, you don't understand because you're asking, your expectation is that I answer that question for you because you're insisting on it.
You're a lawyer, right?
Nope, and you wouldn't be speaking to a lawyer here.
Okay, wow, you're disrespectful. What I'm saying is...
I'm not disrespectful, I'm just not deferential.
Okay,
Because I know my job, so I'm not deferring to you in the questions that you're posing to me. So it's not a matter of disrespect. Whether you interpret it that way, that's ultimately up to you.
Thank you for that.
And you're going to pose to me the same question, and I'm going to repeat the same answer I just gave you. There's no way to reformulate the question that's going to result in me giving you a different answer.
Your stubbornness has definitely been demonstrated. I understand.
It's a matter of,
so if somebody feels, according to the research on Google,
is the answer. We can both speak at the same time.
Yeah, because you're rude.
Exactly the same thing. It's not a matter of rude. Like I said, I'm not deferential. I've answered the same question.
Well, you and your tax-funded six-figure salary, could you allow me to complete one question?
I wish I had a six-figure salary, Ms. Mayor. I do not.
Okay,
and
that's
my
nice.
salary is not relevant to the conversation that we're currently having.
So when one is in the
currently having is in relation to you seeking that I provide you with an explanation or an interpretation of what's going on in the civil proceedings that you're currently engaged in. I've told you.
I'm actually not asking that.
Do that. So I'm not going to answer the question. And if the intention is to reformulate the question, I can, at this point, end our conversation.
If one researches the way a process is meant to go, and that doesn't occur that way,
again? I don't understand why you're bringing up research.
What?
I'm not your attorney. The office does not provide people with legal representation or legal advice. I've already told you you can always reach out to legal aid. This is not the alternative. At this point, I'm going to end this conversation.
If one is being
Have a nice day, Miss May. Have a nice day, Miss Mayor. Attorney's Office, Anthony Barossi speaking.
Hello, I have a question, please. If one is not
Did you
getting
just
the
call me back?
process...
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, don't call me back.
I'm going to leave a message and tape it if you don't allow me to ask the question.
You're not going to... no, you don't get to ask me questions. You
Yes.
don't get to dictate to me.
If somebody
that you're going
is
to ask me
not
a question.
having the process according to the way it's meant, a letter of
Miss Mayor?
process...
Miss Mayor, I may have to reach out to Adult Protective Services at this point if you continue to call me back.
I have
Because
Stephen Banks'
you
email.
don't seem to be understanding what I just said to you.
What avenues can one take?
Get yourself a lawyer and ask your lawyer that question.
So a pro se litigant does not have a right to due process?
Are you asking me that question? With the expectation of an answer?
If one is not getting due process...
Are you asking me the question with the expectation of an answer?
If one is not having access to due...
I'm going to repeat it again.
If one does not have access to due process, what avenues can one take to gain access to due process? If one does not have access to due process, what avenue can one take to get due process? If a pro se litigant does not have access to due process, what action can one take to get access to due process? If a pro se litigant does not have access to due process, a pro se litigant does not have access to due process, how does one rectify that dynamic? So a pro se litigant is not allowed access to due process?
Get yourself an attorney and you ask that question to a lawyer.
Having an attorney would eliminate the status of pro se.
We have nothing to do with that, Miss Mayor. Nothing.
So all I'm asking is if a pro se litigant does not have access to due process, how does one go about in attaining access to due process?
Lawyer. It's the response I've given you about 20 times already.
So you're telling me that without a lawyer I'm not allowed to have access to due process?
No, I'm telling you to go ask a lawyer.
So if criminal action is preventing my access to due process, are you saying you're not interested in that?
Go speak to an attorney is the answer I've given you 21 times now.
So a pro se litigant has no access to civil rights and protections?
You've already asked that. You've already received my answer.
But telling me that I need to get an attorney is telling me that I don't have rights as a pro se litigant.
You call me again, I'm going to refer to the building security, okay?
On what basis?
The conversation is over. You're going to be speaking to a detective if you call me back.
On what grounds?